Hi, every pony. Guess it's time to review a wedding. But I agree with other bronies. The story is bad, the characters are flawed, and the writers use a lot of cheap tricks. So why do I still like these episodes? I should hate them, but I love them, and yet I. Ah! Wait, what the heck happened? What in Taurus?
Ah!
Why are you here? I should ask that! I thought you didn't like these episodes! I don't, but I do, and. My head hurts. What's going on? Some kind of mental breakdown? I don't know, but maybe you can help me figure this out. Excuse me. You being here will literally allow me to argue why I like this episode and why I don't. With your help, we can reach a verdict. Fine, you brat. But wait a second. This is a massive amount of information, and worse than that, those two already went part by part on it. That's a good point. Not to mention, I think we'll present things better if we address individual concepts in the episode rather than one piece at a time. That way, we don't have the normal constraints on where we can pull information on the topic from. So, what to start with? How about we start with the first character to actually do something, Spike. I love Spike in the beginning of the episode because he was so flustered he forgot to give her important details. He was just too excited to deliver the important messages from the princess. But we don't see him again until Twilight is talking to the other five about evil Cadence. There, he's ignoring whatever she says to play with Pinky, which doesn't match his actions in Lesson Zero. He normally pays more attention to her and her obsessions, except when he has a party or event to attend. In Best Night Ever and the Nightmare Moon two-parter, he ignores Twilight's obsessiveness and focuses instead on enjoying the occasion. In the two-parter, he just flat out ignores her panicky need to study to go party. In Best Night Ever, he doesn't make any grand plans but instead focuses on how he can enjoy the trip. I have to admit, at least they didn't ditch him for once. If we're talking about ponies who get too into the party to notice Twilight, we should next talk about the main five. Who? The main six when Twilight's on an adventure. In every single two-parter and the MMC, the other five are simply around while Twilight has to handle the prom by herself. The main five either make the prom worse or have no major role aside from using the elements of harmony. I see. Continue. The main five spend the first episode ignoring Twilight's complaints, showing compassion only long enough to tell her not to worry about her brother. They then get so wrapped up with wedding plans that they ignore Twilight's accusations about a person who was very close to her. Especially since this season started with Lesson Zero, this is absolutely amazing. Normally I would hate this kind of thing, but whenever a chance to party comes around, they are all nice and hyped up. Furthermore, in a small town in the kind of setting that Ponyville is in, it reminds me of both fictional and non-fictional small towns. The two things that gets everyone obsessed and hyped up are royalty and weddings. What two things does this event have? Royalty and a wedding. So you're saying that they were so caught up in the kind of hype they felt in Bird and the Hoof, The Best Night Ever, and Sweet and Elite, at least for rarity, mixed with the fact that they seem to be different anytime they interact with Canterlot led to their strange behavior. Exactly. Even in Storm of the Century, Ponyville was in a tizzy trying to get ready for the princess's arrival. They act differently in these high class situations and are so obsessed with the big event they're part of that they lose track of Twilight and are willing to stand with Princess Cadence instead. Huh. How about next we bring up fake Cadence? No. We will address that later when we address Chrysalis. Chrissy. What? Alright, fine. So who or what is next? The song, Big Brother, Best Friend Forever. That wonderful song that was all about a horrible flaw in the story of the episode? I thought we weren't referencing that review. Doesn't matter. They didn't even try to hint at Shining Armor prior to this episode. Any kind of hint would have been plenty, and there was a perfect opportunity when we saw Twilight's parents in the Cutie Chronicles. Agreed, but I think it isn't as bad as you think. I've spent half a year seeing people in class and after school without them knowing I had a twin brother. Even more than that is that I have two sisters, and there are people I've known for 3 years who still don't know about the one who's in town. It isn't impossible that when you're enjoying your friend's company, not to think of your family. When she wasn't engaged in hanging out with them, she had Spike to talk to and help ignore her loneliness. How messed up is it that this song makes it seem like Spike meant nothing to her childhood? How messed up is it that Shining Armor probably went to boot camp at the same time she started training with Celestia? Don't you dare justify his absence in the Cutie Chronicles. How about we finally address Shining Armor, the character? Sure, but what is there to say? So you did realize that. We hardly see any kind of character of Shining Armors throughout these episodes, and what we do see plays him up as the I am the coolest brother you could ask for. Feels like they should have shown more of him. I agree. Shining Armor's strongest point is that he seems totally in tune with Twilight. Even if they are separated, they still care about each other deeply. I also like how non-formal he is with her until he scolds her for accusing fake Cadence. He's a pretty solid brother character. Still want to see a lot more than just how responsible and well adjusted he is. Still a lot better than your brother. Next topic, next topic. Pick the next topic! Well, I guess before we get to the lovey-dovey princess, we should address Twilight herself in this episode. Well, I got nothing. She remained in character this episode. She's a very distrustful pony, shown in a handful of episodes. From the very first episode, to Ghostbusters, to Bridal Gossip, to feeling pinky keen. Did I just say what I thought I had? Have you ever thought that focusing on bad episodes might not be good for your, or more importantly, my health? Paranoia is also something we're used to with Lesson Zero being a perfect example. If anything, her reversal of heart when she finds real Cadence and doesn't kill her is bad for her distrustful character. You want me to finish that thought, don't you? Yeah. This fits her character though because she probably wanted to find something to prove her wrong about Cadence. She holds her in such high esteem in her memory, and it probably hurt like crazy to think she was so evil. She was quick to say she was sorry after the facts were presented to her to fake Cadence. Wow, I like how you said that. Fine, whatever. Let's just get to Cadence before you start getting mushy. Oh no, we are transitioning from Twilight to Princess Cadence. There's no way to go there without doing it. No! We must! If there is a god in this world, they put you in front of me so that we could do it. I refuse! I will never! Intervention! Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake. Awesome! Hey, Red Pen. Oh, wait. Man, you look pissed. Now wait, that is the look that says, I don't know the meaning of the word. Okay, well, we'll leave you alone and continue on to Cadence solo. Cadence is a figure from Twilight's past, and she is the Princess of Love itself. As her old full sitter, it seems implied that the two of them haven't seen each other in an extremely long time. This explains why she wasn't mentioned, and why it was so difficult to believe the personality change. It's extremely hard to give up how you view an idol, because they give you hope for what things can be like. Cadence was definitely the Shy Little Unicorn's idol after all. Cadence and Fake Cadence have a duet that is amazing, and that is a quick way to build suspense, get to the breakout, and show us how much Cadence actually loves Shining Armor. Now to finally discuss Chrysalis, Queen of the Changelings. This one character, this awful character, ruins these episodes for me. The entire premise hangs on her replacing Cadence to marry Shining Armor, and then what? Not to mention the fact that she couldn't act to save her life, or else Twilight might have felt a little more confusion. She hadn't been planning on defeating Celestia. Why did she threaten the city so the shields would be put up? And why is she just so stupid as to turn her back on all her adversaries when they're in one room? All of her mistakes can't be summed up by saying that she had premature victory syndrome when so many of them were key in running the plot of these episodes. Listen, I could never say all of the character and story flaws she has and made as Antony C. and Brony Curious could. There's a link in the description, and you should definitely look to them for hearing how bad Chrysalis is. One more time though, Chrysalis is a moron. Chrissy is brilliant! I've had enough of you bad-mouthing her. She's probably the smartest and best villain in MLP. Why do you call her Chrissy? Do you have a crush on her or something? She's a heartless monster who eats other ponies to love and wants to destroy the lives of every pony in Equestria. What isn't there for me to love? You're kidding, right? She's smarter than Discord. And she's brilliant? I know there's a lot wrong in that head of yours, Red Pen, but come on! No. I can prove every inch of my theory about why her plan was brilliant until she developed premature victory syndrome and when it happened. Fine, I'll prompt you. First, let's address the shield and why she went in alone. Child's play. Chrysalis stated that she had never found so much love as there was in Equestria, and that she gains power by feeding on love. She says she will be more powerful than ever once she and her subjects feed on the ponies. However, one of the strongest loves she could find, who also put her in a key strategic position, was also one of the strongest unicorns in all of Equestria. Now that's never stated. He is strong enough and skilled enough to have earned the position of captain of the Royal Guard. In other words, throughout all of Equestria, with all the ponies who signed up for royal service, he was the best. Furthermore, it can be expected that he received direct training by Celestia or training designed by her. We all can see what that training did for Twilight, right? The level of magic he had probably would have helped him resist Chrysalis as she tried to feed on him. It sounds like you're saying he was too powerful for Chrysalis to have a chance against with her strength at pre-feeding levels. I am. She made a threat against the city once inside, to occupy a massive amount of focus and magical power away from Shining Armor. Then she could control him, feed off him, and hide behind him until it was time to come out. If any other changelings had been in the town, it's hard to say if they wouldn't have bumbled and blown their cover. Wait a second, you said control him. I thought she didn't do that until the wedding when his eyes went all googly. She took more direct control then. She had otherwise been manipulating his mind so that he wouldn't question his love's strange behavior. And that is why I need to address her bad acting. It is terrible, but I think she knows it. Prior to a wedding, the only person she must interact with are those providing services for the wedding and her fiancé. She had her fiancé under control, but Canterlot snobs would never take her crappy attitude without complaining, and as the complaints piled up, Celestia would have noticed. She could have just not planned for the wedding, but that would have made the princess just as suspicious. We stated earlier that the main five were so concerned with the wedding and how hyped they were about that, they didn't notice or didn't care that she was being a horrible pony. By specifically choosing to arrange things this way, no one would question her and her bad acting was covered by her ability to manipulate a situation. What about Twilight? Chrysalis had her running everything even after she found out that Twilight knew how she should have been acting. It's no coincidence that Twilight saw every way in which Chrysalis was terrible to her friends. By goading Twilight along, she made it so that she could eliminate a suspicious pair of eyes, distract Princess Celestia with a little premarital drama, and remove one of the most powerful or well-trained unicorns in Equestria. To be even safer though, she alienated Twilight and ramped up her friends' hype by inviting them to be bridesmaids. This was also a final nail in the coffin to set off Twilight's paranoia, and it is right after she seals away Twilight that she suffers premature victory syndrome. That's why she taunts Twilight, even though it led to Cadence and her finding each other. She didn't figure that they would ever escape the caves, so it was harmless. But wait, shouldn't it have been after she defeated Celestia? Her case went away the same time Discord's did. When failure was rubbed in her nose, she hurried her plan along with all of her old uncertainty and cautiousness. Probably part of why she could defeat Celestia is that between the love Shining Armor had for a pony who could actually produce love, the fact that she is the most powerful of all the changelings, and her full focus being on defeating Celestia, she poured everything into that one blast. Afterwards, her happiness leaves her shocked at doing something she had never heard of before, defeating Celestia. Even I felt that, a moment of pure elation where you finally reach your goals in a moment of triumph. You simply can't believe what happened. Exactly. That happiness also leads to the redevelopment of premature victory syndrome, made worse by catching the main six. She turns her back and doesn't believe a pony can use love as a form of magic because that isn't something most can. And thus she gives Cadence and Shining Armor their chance and is sent flying. That is awesome! No pony had better go dissing Chrissy in front of me again, unless they can properly counter this theory. She's a heartless monster. I think it's okay for the rest of us not to like her. Whatever. So after Chrysalis's big reveal, we should probably address the following invasion scenes. But what is there to say? We get a cool fight scene with the main six, and Chrysalis's expulsion from Canterlot. Chrissy gets too cocky with all of those who could threaten her right behind her. She simply thinks she's won and is watching a successful invasion. Cadence re-energizes Shining Armor and the entire army is expelled from the city. Wedding time, and after a cool song, episode's over. So that wraps things up. The moral is to trust your gut. In a lot of ways, that's right. If you can't trust yourself, then it's really easy to deceive you. You might not want to accuse people like Twilight did, but this is far from the first time the moral was taken to an extreme. It really isn't the focus of the episode though, and I felt they were just trying to cram in a moral at the end. Moral bullcrap. Let's enjoy the final song while I do editor's notes. and I'll do my fanboying of the episodes. How about you start? I'm still a little winded. Alright. Princess Miyamore Cadenza has got to be one of the funniest names ever. Between failing the pronunciation and stressing parts like Twilight tended to do, they did a great job of bringing a lot of entertainment out of the name. That freaking 5-part event list. MLP has a tendency to break things up in these event episodes where we see each scene happen separately, leading to something big. The flow for these is only getting more awkward though as we get more used to seeing the main six interact with each other. Confetti Sneeze, Bridesmaids of Death, and a pink pony using a purple unicorn as a Gatling gun. The comedy of these episodes was awesome! The Luna conspiracy should have never existed. The writers could have at least put her out of town, but instead, they put something in the episode to piss off the fans and make our imaginations run wild with us. Wish they had done something better than What Did I Miss? Speaking of which, if you want to know one of my thoughts for what Luna was doing during the wedding, watch my Luna and Just Rule video. So what does that mean on the final verdict for the episode? Oh, well, let's do that properly. This is Linespace deciding I love this episode. And this is Red Pen saying, let the Changeling Kingdom rise!